The Great Barrier Reef is a series of coral keys and reefs that extends 2,300 kilometres along Queensland's coast. The reef has been World Heritage listed since 1981, providing some level of protection from direct threats such as mining on the reef, but has been in a state of decline for several decades. The reef is an important and valuable asset to Queensland and Australia. The reef is symbolic of Australia's affinity with coastal life and attracts over 2 million tourists per year, estimated to be worth over $5 billion annually. Biologically, it supports a concentration of biomass, particularly as a habitat for over 1,500 juvenile fish species. The article, Urbanisation Joins Mining and Farming as a Threat to the Great Barrier Reef, focuses on the issue of urbanisation and local government control of development as an emerging threat. The population is increasing faster in coastal cities, and the infrastructure required leads to increased hard surface runoff. The article makes the unsupported claim that urban runoff and effluent outflows will be more difficult to contain than farm runoff, the traditional threat to the reef. The councillor quoted in this article offers an alternative opinion that design legislation could avoid impacts upon the reef, which she has no qualification in asserting. Neither side of the argument acknowledges that urban expansion is a necessary evil to cope with increasing population and provides a considerable boost to the economy. Since the coastal population is unlikely to decline any time in the future, there needs to be a discussion on how best to manage urbanisation and minimise its effects on the marine environment. The article does have some merit in discussing the effects of changing land use on the reef. Since the time of European settlement in the mid-1800s, changes in land use has caused considerable degradation on the reef. Deforestation, to make way for agriculture and grazing, has led to a reduction in water quality, especially during periods of heavy rain common to tropical regions. Increased demand for infrastructure and housing has resulted in the draining of wetlands which formerly acted as sediment catchment and nutrient filtration areas, compounding this problem. It is worth noting that while its environmental record is questionable, this agriculture and expanding urban areas have provided employment and areas to live for large numbers of people for many generations. The article's main failure in terms of balance is the focus on the currently publicised issues of mining and urbanisation, while completely ignoring the elephant in the room of climate change. Focus tends to shift to smaller issues as the larger umbrella issue of climate change is used as a political football, often placed in the too hard basket. By its very nature, the progress of science is usually based on methodically gathering data and establishing theories, while acknowledging inherent uncertainties. This is a difficult balancing act. If the marine ecosystem is destroyed, much of what attracts people to these locations will no longer exist and quality of life in those communities will decline. Being a complex system of interrelated habitats and ecosystems, the nature of threats to the environment is multifaceted and challenging to manage. Many initiatives target one particular problem as it becomes an issue due to shifts in popular opinion. The long-term future of the Great Barrier Reef is most likely to be positively influenced by filling the gaps in current knowledge with targeted scientific research and data acquisition. Applying the precautionary principle to manage local factors will increase the robustness of the reef. This will be more likely to gain support if scientists can communicate effectively with the community. In economic terms, continuing to publicise the value of ecological services provided by the reef will ensure that industries and the greater voting public recognise that the habitats surrounding the reef are worth conserving. Historically, protection for the reef and its ecosystems have evolved as scientific research has uncovered new threats and new understanding of the mechanisms behind threats to the reef. As of October 2014, funding for the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority has been cut, with many scientists' positions made redundant. While it would be in the authority's own self-interest to highlight threats to the reef, scaling back of the authority means that the flow of scientific data will likely decrease, leaving the status of many species and habitats to be unknown.